Hello everybody, CES 2014. You're at the 3D Systems booth, and everybody gather around. I've got a great presentation coming up. Come on, everybody gather around over here. So this is where 3D printing meets fashion. I'm going to bring to the stage the Chief Creative Officer for Nooka, which is the watch brand that we're showcasing over here with 3D printed watch bands. And if you look around the booth, just about everybody's wearing these watches. They're really awesome. Please welcome to the stage Matthew Walden.
Okay. I have to get my clicker ready. Can everyone hear me fine? Is that working? Is it on? No? Hold on. Can everyone hear me now? Okay, cool. That was a great introduction. And I am Matthew Waldman. I am the founder and Chief Creative Officer of Nooka. Nooka is a small independent brand based out of New York City that promotes techno-progressivism through the universal language of form and of design. 150 years ago, there was the Paris exhibition, which is very much like what CES is today. It was a gathering of inventors and designers and architects and innovators. And it was at that exhibition that Bonaparte, Napoleon, became, and the elite of the world, became obsessed with this material called aluminum. Now, aluminum is never found in a metallic form. It exists as bauxite under the earth, and it was very, very expensive to smelt. It was so expensive, in fact, that Napoleon himself would gift aluminum cutlery to his people that visited banquets at his palace. It was very, 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 very expensive. But he also set out the challenge for scientists to find a cheaper way to get aluminum to be a more ubiquitous material. And that required a lot of scientific innovation to get from the raw material through the process into a finished consumer product. But it was the obsession of the elite with aluminum that reminds me a lot about what's happening with the revolution now with 3D printing, and I'll talk about more of that later. But now, because of this process, because of these innovations that happened in the 1800s for aluminum, we now have airplanes. We could not have had airplanes without aluminum. We would not have cans of soda that we drink on those airplanes, and we would not have the tinfoil to wrap those crappy airline meals that we eat on airplanes without this process that brought aluminum to be an ubiquitous material. So, can you imagine living in a world without aluminum? Can anyone here imagine? You just can't. I think in the future, you will not be able to imagine a world without 3D printing. Have to hit this harder? Oh, there we go. There we go, there's some 3D printers there. So 3D printing is moving towards ubiquity. Right now, even here at CES, you see lots of wonderful products that are aimed at consumers, lots that are for professional applications, but it's the ubiquity of a technology that really gets it adopted. And I think that the real driving force that's going to make that happen is a revolution in material science. It's not just the printer itself, it's new and innovative materials that are going to make the printers useful for a wider array of people. So eventually you will have 3D printed houses. I was at MIT Media Lab a couple of years ago and saw a prototype that they had. The picture here is from someone, I think, in the University of California that was in the news just this week. You'll have a 3D printer in every home. But at the moment, it really is a fetish of the creative class. It's really something that designers really appreciate because they are really into process. So to get from this point of fetishizing a technology, it's very much reminds me of how precious aluminum was before they came up with the process and it became ubiquitous. That we're going to have all these innovations that are happening to bring it into everyone's world. And it is those innovations that a show like this really shows you how it really can happen. you have the materials and the process and the infinite possibilities of the product. So welcome to the material science revolution. And what does that mean for us as designers or as people? There's a company called Modern Meadow that is printing vegan leather from stem cells, which is an amazing development. Still not for consumers, but it's an amazing thing. Eventually we will have 3D printed fabrics like you see this beautiful image on the right over there. But 3D Systems is selling a machine that prints candy and chocolate, and it's just amazing that when you see that the jump from ABS plastic to food stuff, you know that the new form language that 3D System is inspiring with consumers and with designers is going to force this revolution in material science. Now, where are we lacking? For fashion and for a lot of consumer items, there is still yet a material that is soft enough, durable enough, flexible enough, and at the same time non-toxic. This is a material that I hope will be available soon, and this is something that's holding back certain types of applications for 3D printing, but I believe that that too will be surpassed and we'll have those materials as well. And that's, I should have said that with this slide, but there's still work to do. So materials are really going to be the true breakthrough. And also, when you think about how this is inspiring brands and designers, the people that make the printers they probably did not envision someone making beautiful chocolates or someone printing organs, but it's the technology that is inspiring the thought process that's bringing this revolution. And there are other revolutions that maybe you don't know about that I think are quite entertaining, that of one idea that spurs another. One of those, for example, is bubble wrap. Bubble wrap was originally invented to be hipster, futuristic wallpaper, and in the 1950s, and I'm not making up this story, it really was initially marketed as wallpaper. But consumers found it very difficult that if the bubbles popped, they had to repaper that whole section of the wall. So it was a total flop as wallpaper. But luckily, someone in that company saw this could be a really good packing material. So you go from hipster wallpaper to packing material, and it's an awesome connection that someone made and that people make with great ideas. Rogaine, which obviously I don't use, is a multi-billion-dollar product for reversing hair loss. That was originally researched as a medicine for high blood pressure. And it was only when the researchers realized that they were getting little patches of hair on their fingers where they didn't have before, working with the material, that it had another application. And this is what is so exciting to me about 3D printing, is what it's going to inspire, the new form language and the new materials. Now to go back a bit, something like a 3D printer, the reason I'm so passionate about it is I've been waiting for something like this since I was a child, since watching Star Trek with the replicators and ordering your coffee and telling it what temperature you want it to be and what kind of cup you want it in. And of course, we're not quite there yet, and I believe that we will get there. But this is a techno-progressivist philosophy that is shared by the founders and the people that work here at 3D Systems. If you see people walking around, or Avi, the CEO, everyone's wearing one of these watches. And this is really what I'm here to talk about, is the collaboration that we did with 3D Systems and Fresh Fiber and their wonderful design team in the Netherlands. To talk about, well, you know what? My slides, I'm a little bit out of order. So what does 3D printing mean for Nooka and other design innovators? It's the portability, and it's also the environmental impact. Now, one of the things that I keep going back to aluminum, that made aluminum so amazing, is how light it is and how portable it is. Now, the other thing about the iPhone and how that revolutionized personal electronics is not because it's a great phone, but because it makes your stereo portable, it makes your office computer portable. Portability is an amazing thing that really makes something very, very successful and makes it become ubiquitous. When we start bringing manufacturing local, we change the whole fabric of how business is actually conducted in the world. if you can manufacture where your customer is, you don't have to sit on inventory. You don't have to worry, well, you worry less about carbon footprint. A lot of consumers are very concerned about things being socially conscious and about things being eco-friendly, not realizing that the material has to be shipped on freighters to China or to wherever the factory is. And then that material needs to be shipped from the factory to a distribution point. I cannot stress how revolutionary it is. And why is it revolutionary for a small brand? Well, the MOQs. MOQs means minimum order quantity. Through normal standard production way it's done now, you have to order thousands of a unit to make it affordable. 3D printing allows a small brand like Nooka to make that affordable and accessible wherever we are and wherever our customers are. And to talk more about why designers are obsessed with the eco-friendly angle of it, Nooka is a brand from the very beginning has been very, very obsessed with eco-friendliness. We have awards for our origami package, which uses no glue. It's one piece of paper, die cut. So to be able to eventually 3D print or have a process with molds to make even packaging locally, that's again going to be something that's quite revolutionary and exciting. And even manufacturing locally is quite exciting. So a little bit more about Nooka. People who don't know about Nooka, one of the taglines and the marketing points is bringing the revolution of interface design to objects and having the opportunity to bring this revolution of doing this local specialized printing to our products. It's a very, very good fit philosophically. So when you have techno-progressivism, basically I say we're selling optimism, and universal language is part of the manifesto that we ourselves use for our brand. We call it the Nookafesto, and we think it's a very, very good fit with what 3D Systems is doing. 3D printing will help us foster a universal language and also platforms for collaboration. Now, to talk more about this collaboration and about any collaboration is you get to access new form languages of another designer or of another brand. And working with 3D Systems, which is also based on techno-progressivism, and Fresh Fiber, which make amazing things out of it. They understand the material and the process very well. We were able to produce this nylon bracelet for a Nooka watch, a Nooka Zub 40 watch, which everyone should go to cubify.com/Nooka and check it out. It's a beautiful piece. And moreover, with nylon, like nylon's a material that we've always wanted to work with and that we weren't able to work with because of the complexities of the molds and actually the cost. So the 3D Systems collaboration brings us a new aesthetic. It broadens our brand aesthetic, and it also proves that you can have a viable consumer product with a 3D printed components and eventually the whole thing 3D printed. When I had designed this original piece, the Zub 40, 4 years ago, it was designed for collaboration. And we have different straps to swap out. And having this 3D strap, it was just a very, very good fit to show you how this original design then segued into having this wonderful collaboration. And you can see that it's very different and it definitely expands the aesthetic. New materials, new ideas, collaborations, it's a limitless future. It's a wonderful thing. We're going to be, Nooka, we're going to be moving into wearable tech and hopefully also more as soon as new materials and 3D processes are available with new 3D printed products as well. And 3D printing will transform from a fetish of the creative class to something that is part of everyone's life that you can't imagine living without. That is something that I'm absolutely sure of. So I want to thank 3D Systems. There's going to be a Q&A, everyone, if you want to stay around. I want to thank CES, Fresh Fiber. I want to thank pro speakers who are taping this and helping move the content. And leave you with the future should not look like the past. That is, I think if we're all, the only place any of us are going to go is the future, we should all dress the part.